Think you have time. They say 60 is the new 40. You are still relatively healthy. Your mind is working. Your life has finally settled into something manageable. So you feel like you have long years ahead of you, like a quiet Sunday afternoon that will never end. But that is not true. I am 92 years old. When I was a child, the world was a very different place. I have buried my mother, my father, my spouse, 2 siblings, and more friends than I can count. And I am here to tell you this: your 60s are not the golden years of your life. Your 60s are the last serious chance you have to prepare for everything that is waiting for you. Because what comes after is much harder than you think. All my life, I worked in a job where I guided people. For decades, I witnessed other people's decisions, fears, and hopes. When I retired, I thought I was ready for everything. I had money. I had plans. I had a spouse I loved, children who called me, grandchildren who grew up by my side. I felt safe. But in truth, I was not ready for anything. I was not ready for my body to slowly begin betraying me. I was not ready for my friends to start disappearing one by one, for the emptiness each loss carved inside me to grow a little deeper. I was not ready for the man I loved to be taken from this life forever while I was at home, thinking it was just an ordinary day and making a list of things to do. I was not ready to wake up in a hospital one day and feel like one side of my body no longer belonged to me, or to accept that I could no longer live alone. These words are not coming from someone who has figured life out. They are the confession of someone who wishes they had been warned years ago. If you are in your 60s right now, take this as a warning. Lesson 1. Your body is about to change in irreversible ways, and you must keep it strong while you still can. In my early 60s, I went on long walks, climbed stairs without thinking, played on the floor with my grandchildren, and stood back up on my own. I assumed this would always be true, because it had always been true my whole life. In my 70s, even a short walk required planning. By the time I reached my 80s, stairs started to feel intimidating. Then one day, an illness took what strength I had left. No one tells you this clearly, but the muscle you lose after 60 is almost impossible to regain. The bone density you lose does not come back. The balance that once came naturally suddenly requires conscious effort. If you do not challenge your body while it can still respond, you will spend your 80s and 90s trapped in a body that cannot do what your mind still wants to do. You will watch children run and remember that you once could run too. And that former version of you will start to feel like a stranger. You will think, I wish I had taken better care of that body. Do it while you still can, because later is too late. Lesson 2. Your friends will disappear one by one, and you will need more people in your life than you think. I had a small group of friends who had been with me since my youth. For years, we laughed together, cried together, raised families, and grew old side by side. I thought they would always be there. Then one left, then another, then another. One day I realized that most of the people who knew my past were gone. Your children and grandchildren love you, but they cannot replace a friend who knew your younger self, who witnessed the stories that shaped you. Do not think in your 60s that you already have enough friends. Meet new people, build connections with people of different ages, because you have no idea who will still be here in 20 years. The loneliness of losing the people you love one by one settles into the heart like a heavy silence. Lesson 3. Have the conversations about death and money while everyone is still able to have them. People avoid these topics. Sitting down with your children and saying, "What will happen when I am gone?" feels uncomfortable. But if you do not have these conversations, you leave confusion behind. When people cannot talk about these things, those who remain are forced to guess. And guessing usually leads to regret, guilt, and conflict. The conversations you postpone because they feel uncomfortable are actually one of the greatest kindnesses you can give to the people you love. Lesson 4. Retirement will not save you. It will leave you alone with who you are. If your job became your identity, the day that identity is taken away, you are left with emptiness. In the period when you think, "Now I finally have time," you may realize you no longer know what you belong to. I experienced this when I retired. There was a long period when I felt useless, when I did not know why I was getting out of bed in the morning. If in your 60s your life is nothing but your job, you are heading toward a great emptiness. Discover who you are outside of your work now. Otherwise, one day you will wake up without knowing who you are. Lesson 5. You have less healthy time with your spouse than you think. A long marriage sounds endless when you talk about it, but most of those years are spent in rush, in problems, in exhaustion. The years when you truly enjoy each other are fewer than you imagine. As health slowly declines, the things you can do together also shrink. Everything you say, "We will do that later," eventually becomes something you can no longer do. Use the good years while you have them. Do not postpone life. Later is often a time that never comes. Lesson 6. Do not wait for the right time to forgive. There is no right time. People hold grudges, protect their pride, and convince themselves they are right. But death does not care who was right. The years that pass without speaking never come back. When you lose someone, everything you never said stays with you for the rest of your life. Being at peace weighs much less on the heart in old age than being right. Lesson 7. Your adult children do not need your advice. They need your presence. Having experience does not give you the right to say everything. Most people do not want solutions. They want to be understood. Learn to be there for your children instead of trying to fix them. The more you try to correct them, the greater the distance becomes. When you stand beside them, the bond grows stronger. Lesson 8. Write everything down, because memories are not as solid as you think. As the mind grows older, it quietly erases some moments. If you do not write them down, one day you will look back and find empty spaces. Write who you are, what you lived through, what you loved, because after a while, even you may no longer be the one who remembers these things. Lesson 9. You will be afraid, and courage is moving forward despite fear. Ignoring your fears does not make them disappear. Everything you run from eventually stands in front of you. But when the things you fear finally come, life does not end. A person changes, maybe becomes smaller in some ways, but does not vanish completely. Fear does not have to stop you. Being prepared weakens the power fear has over you. Lesson 10, and perhaps the most important one, the later years pass much faster than the earlier ones. One day you realize the years have blurred together. You feel time speeding up, and when you look back, you cannot account for where many of your days went. So live each day with awareness. Say what needs to be said. Go where you want to go. Do not carry grudges. Because one day, without realizing how the years passed, you will find yourself far down the road. If I could speak to myself in my 60s, I would hold her by the shoulders and say this: "You think you have time, but not as much as you believe. Pay attention. Do not postpone life. Say, 'I love you.' Go where you want to go. Forgive where you are hurt. Because one day you will be too late, and there will be no time left to make up for what you missed."